Good evening, and welcome back to the Pumpkin Patch and Pumpktoberfest, where we are drinking pumpkin beer to determine the very best pumpkin beer of the season. And we have over 60 pumpkin beers to choose from, which is not that many, considering how many there are out there.
400 in America.
Okay, you're not allowed to talk because you promised me... Okay, when I said Days of Yore, this is not...
No, but I'm Laura Ingalls. Alright, I am the embodiment of everything you loved as a child, but then as you grow older and learn more about them, you become disillusioned and disappointed. Isn't that right, child actor Mara Wilson?
Yes.
See, Mara dressed up.
She's not even wearing black.
Exactly! She's not wearing black!
I'm not wearing black.
Alright, well, I'm picking the beers this time. So, I'm going to pick Jacko Traveler Shandy because I'm taking you on this Oregon Trail and you can just deal with it. Even though I know that she technically never went on the Oregon Trail, don't ask me.
They settled in Dakota Territory.
Yes, into Smit. And then, let's go with the Schlafly. Shuffly. We really should have looked the pronunciation before we started this.
Just keep going, I'm letting you take your own hold.
I know, the Pumpkin Ale. Because they're from St. Louis, and where do most people start the Oregon Trail?
According to the game.
In Missouri.
But she didn't go on the Oregon Trail.
But she was still 40 miles from Independence City when she was living in Indian Territory, which she shouldn't have been because it wasn't legal, and that was bad on them. This is why I am disillusioned with Laura Ingalls. Thank you. And finally, we have Wolliver's, which is from Vermont. Pretty Vermont. That has nothing to do with the pioneer spirit, but we still like anyway.
And it's always fall in Vermont.
And it's always fall. So let's begin.
Pumpkin Patch Show.
Schlafly. Pumpkin Ale.
Phyllis Schlafly is pretty scary. As is her son, the one who runs Conservapedia.
Ooh, that is
Yeah,
scary.
that's pretty scary. Although that's sans an L, so yeah.
Ale brewed with pumpkin and with spices added, parentheses, cinnamon, nutmeg, and clove. This is a special release, and it is 8% alcohol by volume.
And it's got a wonderful Henry David Thoreau quote on there. I would rather sit on a pumpkin and have it all to myself than be crowded on a velvet cushion. And I find that very interesting because on their website, they actually state that pumpkin ales are a tradition in America that go back to the colonial times. And of course, because they made that outrageous claim, I had to look it up and the history of that, and it turns out it's totally true. Yeah. The website for Colonial Williamsburg states that when the European colonists first got to America, they wanted to continue making beers and things, but there wasn't the malted barley that you need for beer making, at least in the English and other traditional styles.
But there was a lot of
Oh God, was there a lot of pumpkin. So, as a replacement for the barley, which creates the sugar needed for fermentation, they were using things like persimmons, spruce bark, molasses, and, most importantly, pumpkin.
So they weren't just jumping on the marketing of pumpkin spice.
Oh, hell no.
200 years early.
Pumpkin spice season has pumpkins have a firm place in American history. The pumpkin spice thing came a little later. But in fact, in my research, I even found America's first folk song, written in 1643. And it goes, instead of pottage and puddings and custards and pie, our pumpkins and parsnips are common supplies. We have pumpkin at morning and pumpkin at noon. If it were not for the pumpkins, we should be undone. That doesn't rhyme at all. Undone. Well, it's spelled undone, so whatever. Hey down, dairy down. If barley be wanting to make into malt, we must be contented and think it no fault, for we can make liquor to sweeten our lips of pumpkins and parsnips and walnut tree chips. It has a fine, upstanding tradition in America, and anyone who gives people shit about the pumpkin season should just go pick up a history book and educate themselves.
A lot of people who have been leaving comments on our videos have been saying, oh, I live in this country and we don't have pumpkin beers. And I feel so sad.
I know, you're missing out of a beautiful
things.
North American native gourd, and I am sorry for you.
South American too, right?
Well, yeah, actually, it was both a cultivar in both North and South America. It was super popular, kind of like how corn kind of took over everything. Gourds and pumpkins took over everything. So go pumpkins. You conquered a continent.
They're pretty hardy. I mean, we once let pumpkins rot in our backyard, forgot to carve them. That was a sad Halloween. And the pumpkin seeds got into the ground, and we ended up with pumpkin in our garden.
Yeah.
They're pretty hardy.
They just come out of nowhere. I once had a surprise pumpkin in my garden. I didn't even plant pumpkins. Somehow a pumpkin was growing in my garden one year.
They get around.
Yeah.
Kind of like these pumpkins we're sitting on.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is a little bit of a darker amber color.
Yeah.
It's like the color of molasses almost.
It's very tree sap looking.
Yeah. Or maple syrup is what I'm thinking of, not molasses. It looks kind of like maple syrup.
Well, I mean, the Puritans used a formula of pumpkins and maple syrup. So, very something that can be put into a pumpkin beer.
We really liked Schlafly last year, right? It was one
Yes.
of our favorites.
It was very good
when we did
last
our
year.
miniature version of this experiment.
It smells sweet.
Very sweet smelling.
And also sweet on the tongue. Without being cloying, which is always important.
Yeah.
What is that? It's like a candy flavor, but it doesn't really taste like pumpkins. It's definitely spicy. Tastes more like maple candy, I want to say.
It does kind of.
Yeah, I am getting that maple flavoring. Whether that was their intention, they might be using caramel malts, which tend to give a sweeter, almost burnt sugar flavor to beers.
See, I want to like it, but I feel like the sweetness gives it more of a bitter aftertaste. It's like this weird contrast. It's like something sweet and sour at the same time. It's like sweet and bitter at the same time.
It says it blends the spices of the harvest with full-bodied sweetness for a beer that tastes like pumpkin pie. Special release pumpkin ale is available for a limited time with a new style every few months. So that means it could be totally different from what we had last year.
Yeah. It does have a sour aftertaste once it leaves the mouth. I don't find it unpleasant.
But I'm I'm weak when it comes to beer, so
I don't like it as much as I liked it last year.
yeah. There feels something. It's almost like it's like eating an unripe banana or something. There's
Yeah.
It doesn't. It feels like there's something not
There's
quite
a little
there yet.
greenness to it.
Like I could buy this being good given more time, you know, and I could buy it being better last year
You
or
know-
next year.
That's really funny you mention it, because one of the things I found in my research about how pumpkin beers were made back in the day was because they had no malts in them. They were usually just pumpkin. They were described as having an unpleasant tang to them unless they were allowed to age for a couple of years.
Oh.
Which might be what we're seeing with a couple of these pumpkin beers.
But also, last year's pumpkin crop was supposedly pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I still like it. It's not like Pumpkin where it was wonderful one year and then awful the next year. This is still okay, but it's not as good as last year, and it's not as good as some of the ones we've tried.
Still smells good though.
Yeah, on the scale of squash or pie, the smell is a 5, but the taste is maybe more of a 3.
I'd say that.
Yeah, I think with the sour tang we're seeing, that's the pumpkin coming through, so I would give it a 2. It's got... I'm trying to decide what's the overpowering spice, and I really do think it's clove, to be honest.
Oh yeah, you know I think it's clove. I think it is clove.
I think it might be that there's just the clove it was really kind of the overwhelming spice in it.
A lot of times with these pumpkin beers, cinnamon's the strongest one, which
Yeah.
it usually is in pies, so it's interesting that they went with clove. Almost makes it a little more Christmassy than autumnal.
Yeah.
Next.
Pumpkin Patch Show.
Vermont's own Wolliver's Fine Organic Ales Pumpkin Ale. Generous use of Vermont-grown organic pumpkins, artfully blended with 4 fresh organic spices. Craft the seasonal treat. But which 4 organic spices?
The same
Gee.
as, you know, the ones from KFC. Oh, wait, that's 11.
Well, one thing about this brewery that I always kind of appreciate is that they are very committed to being completely organic and also to supporting local farmers where they get most of their ingredients from. And that I really like. One thing they've actually also become recently is non-GMO. So if that matters to you, on general, you want to head up to Vermont.
It's kind of a similar color. It's a little lighter than the last
Yeah.
one, but it's still very pumpkin colored.
Yeah.
It looks like it has a lot more carbonation than the other one.
Yeah, it does. So many little bubbles. Ooh, it smells really sweet.
Yeah.
Ooh, it smells good though.
Kind of getting a bit of a floweriness.
Yeah, there is something flowery to
Yeah.
it.
Maybe New England is the only one who knows how to pumpkin things.
Flowery equals pumpkin to you?
It's got that sort of fresh, floweriness, like jasmine or something, It
Oh
has
man,
that sort of
you
fresh-
guys all need to sip and catch up to me, because, like,
That's a Nella beer.
that's an Ella beer.
That is a Nella beer.
Oh,
It's flowery. It's got that wonderful perfume like essence to it that feels floral and fruity that I like and you hate.
I like it.
This is a 1 on the squash.
This is not my pie.
I like that it's kind of flowery.
I like it better than the Smutty Nose, though, which was our other really flowery.
No, this is definitely much more mild than the Smutty Nose. So if on my recommendation you try the Smutty Nose and you're like, oh no, too much, this is that same level of fruit and squash, but definitely on a milder side. So
Yeah.
you might find this more enjoyable.
Or if you're like me and you only like, mild beers, you will like this, because I like this.
Although I really love that it smells so sweet, and yet it's not. It's not a sweet beer.
I feel like the last one was sweeter.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The last one was like candy.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
this is more of a sophisticated palate.
And you kind of smell it. It's one of those things that you smell while you're drinking it. Like it's something you take in more through your nose than your mouth.
Yeah. Which is definitely a valid way of drinking beers, or really anything. Allowing your senses to really commingle and letting the smell of it influence how you're tasting it.
Taking a deep whiff of whatever you're consuming will always make the taste more strong. This doesn't have the ABV on the bottle, so I don't know how strong it is.
It doesn't taste too strong, but
The last
You
one we
never
tried
know.
was 8%, and that didn't taste strong.
Yeah.
it's true.
I mean, this
know-
is probably somewhere between 4.5 and 6.5, like most of them are.
I would say, yeah. It was quite delightful. I liked this one. I don't know if I put it on our shelf of Victors. I mean, I would, but,
Okay, I'll make a shelf of Nella Victors and of me Victors.
well, I like it, so there.
I kind of want to taste some of their other beers, actually.
On the whole, I'm always pleased with their brand. They also tend more towards the fruity, towards something a little more hoppy. There's definitely that taste that there's something else going on there. When I say soapy, I don't mean it in a negative way. There's just... I have found that their beers tend to have a very,
Nella likes to eat soap.
what can I say? You know, that childhood of having my mouth washed out for me, and it
She just had
influences
a
your
potty
taste.
mouth.
Yeah. I mean, have you met me?
Like a sailor, this one.
I was a sailor, actually. Funny story. But, that sort of flavor comes in with floral notes and hoppy notes, and I really enjoy that sort of flavor. But of course, I realize it's not for everyone, so hey,
It's not for me.
it takes all sorts.
I
It's
like
a beautiful world.
Pumpkin Patch Show.
Jacko Traveler Shandy. And what is a shandy?
Girl, let's talk shandies. So traditionally, a shandy is a beer that is mixed with a lemonade or a carbonated lemonade or a ginger ale or even Sprite. They're super popular actually in Europe. For example, in Switzerland, it's called panache, which, funny story my parents tell, they went to Switzerland on a vacation, and it was during the summer, and they were going to all these cafes and things, and on the menu was this thing called panache. And they ordered it, and they fell in love with it. It was this delightful, airy, fruity beer. And then my father, having dealt with me the last couple of years in my beerness, started asking questions about what is panache, what's it made of, why is it so delicious? And it turns out it's just a wheat beer mixed with Sprite, and it's a half and half. So you tend to find it as like a sort of summer drink. You have a lighter, wheatier beer that can handle citrus flavors like lemon or orange, and then you mix it with something citrusy. And hopefully with carbonation. I find it's better with carbonation. I personally tend not to like shandies in bottles, so I have a little trepidation about this one, but also a little excitement to see how this one feels, because I feel like the best shandy is one that is made in the moment.
By actually mixing your two.
Yeah, exactly.
So this says it's a wheat ale brewed with lemon peel with natural flavors and pumpkin added. It doesn't say it's mixed with a lemonade. It says it's wheat ale brewed with lemon peel. Though it is only 4.4% alcohol, which makes me think it is watered down with something.
Hey, but yeah, so it goes.
It's
I just want to also point out that the English version is a Shandy and the German version is a Biermischgetränken. Biermischgetränken. I am so sorry for my German. I do not speak German. I never learned German. I spoke Italian. Or a Radler, depending on what part of Germany you're in. And also, if you want a non-alcoholic version, you drink a rock shandy. Although, why would you... I don't... What would
So
that
wait,
be?
you mix Sprite
So
with
lemonade.
more Sprite?
I'm just sort of non-alcoholic beer with a Sprite. I'm really curious. All I could find was that a rock shandy was non-alcoholic, and I would really love to know what's that made of.
It's Sprite on the rocks.
Is, I mean, not to knock non-alcoholic beer. I'm just sort of wondering, well, what does make up a rock shandy? But we're not drinking rock shandies. We're drinking shandies.
It's light, but it's a creamy color. I can't really see through it, so it's light but thick.
Oh, guys, we got a lemonade smell right off the bat.
Oh yeah,
Whew.
and kind of gingery.
Yeah. Well, I mean, shandies are also mixed with ginger ale or ginger beer. So we could have that going on.
I mean, Traveler makes a lot of shandies, but this Jacko Shandy is their seasonal pumpkin Halloween version. It's got an actual jack-o'-lantern on it, so it's specifically Halloween.
Hold my hand, I'm a little worried. Like I said, I don't traditionally like shandies that aren't, like, mixed in the moment, so...
Let's try it.
Okay.
That has like 8 layers to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It tastes like one of those, but it's not bad. But I want to say this tastes like something you mix together when you first start drinking, and you aren't used to the taste yet, so you just kind of combine.
I can taste that lemon peel. That is some zesty beer.
Hang on, I'm chasing the rabbit. I'm like, what are the flavors going on here?
Yeah. There's lemon. There's ginger. There's beer. There's.
I think I've made this drink in, like, drunken moments.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm saying
it's like-
this is like something.
It's like baby's first cocktail.
Yeah,
No,
like
I am pretty sure
Wayman
this
Homer.
is actually taking me back to, like, a New Year's Eve party that I ended up at someone's apartment, and, like, it was the first time I was introduced to Saint Germain and orange juice and rum, and I'm pretty sure it ended up tasting
Just
like
start
this.
pouring things together and then light it on fire and then blow it out and then dump some cough syrup in it and finish it off.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a pumpkin pie smell coming off of it.
The smell's kind of overwhelming me, to be honest.
It tastes more like lemon than anything else.
It
to
does,
me.
yeah.
Lemon and ginger. It tastes like a cough drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about this one.
I was told
It's
this
interesting. It's definitely interesting.
Someone told me it was really delicious and I had to try it knowing what I like, and
It is worth a try. I would say it is worth a try.
It's an adventure.
but it is not on my pie scale.
No.
Squash to pie, this isn't even there. This is lemon pie.
It's
Yeah.
a meringue.
Yeah, meringue.
I would be interested to try it without the pumpkin.
Yeah.
Another shandy.
Try
I
one
would-
of the
I would
other
like to try one of the other
Traveler
shandies.
shandies that they have. I mean, they have a whole bunch
I mean,
of varieties.
I'm serious. You get a nice Hefeweizen and you split it with some Sprite, and it's really delightful. Like,
Yeah, that
believe-
does sound good.
It's really refreshing. Hence why it makes such a good summer drink. I'm just not buying this fall variety.
Like, why would you take a traditional summer sparkling, I'm gonna split my beer with Sprite drink and then try to make it into a autumn pumpkin thing?
Marketing!
We're gonna jump on this pumpkin bandwagon.
Well,
There's
also-
400 beers out there. We want to be one of them.
Also, gingers are really, ginger's a very fall spice.
But I'm missing the cinnamon, the nutmeg, the clove, the allspice, all those other
The pumpkin.
anything that's pie related.
At least pumpkin pie related.
yeah.
On the whole, what are we liking?
I really liked what is it called? The Wolaski?
The Willivers.
Woolever.
The Willivers. I really like the Willivers. Wolaskis. I don't know.
Everything's Jewish with you.
Everything's Jewish. Well, it's the
The
conspiracy.
Wolaskovich.
The Wolaskovich. I don't know. It's the conspiracy.
Oh, Lord.
The Wolaskenstein. No,
I really
liked
enjoyed that one, too.
I really like the Willivers.
I didn't like the Willivers. Wasn't my thing. I didn't like this. It wasn't my thing. So by default, the Schlafly, which I loved last year. This year, not so much. But maybe next year it will be good again. If anything, it will get you drunk because it's 8% alcohol
I
by
know.
volume.
Although, nope. I could definitely drink more of that Woolever's. Okay.
Yeah, I could as well.
Anyway, so, next time.
Next time, okay, you don't seem to quite be catching on with the gothy history.
I think I'm
Victorian
doing quite
thing.
well.
Just it's historical, but it's not sexy. This is like some,
Okay,
some puritanical crap.
What
here.
if I do sexy?
Sexy? I will take. I will take sexy as long as it's, it's got an edge to it. It can't be like bubblegum sexy.
No, I mean something that like isn't. How about something that like is really gonna make people like sit back and question their sexuality?
Okay, that I can go for.
Okay.
Can you do that? Can you promise me that?
Oh yeah. Oh, don't worry. I got something.
Pumpkins, 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 pumpkins.
No,
got
it's just gonna be
something.
raw sex.
Oh yeah, raw sex.
Mara knows.
You know it.
Not unsafe sex, but yes. Raw.
No, totally
Not
protected.
Totally protected,
Raw,
but yes.
awesome sex. That's consensual. With cats.
And beer.
I am so glad I've met you.
Oh,
You make my life
shucks.
so like just
It's just hearts. Just
Mara-
hearts.
Just Mara
Hearts.
Wilson, right there.